Okay, thank you.
Sir, we are live, sir. You can start.
Okay, thank you, Balaji. Thank you so much. Okay, so welcome again to people who are on the Zoom call here, and also people are watching this as a recording on YouTube. Where we are happy that you are registered for this course on technology forecasting for strategic decision making. So this is the second time we offer this on NPTEL. We had a good experience last year around, so we would like to keep this going and would like to learn from you any questions you may have on the course itself, anything that is unclear, anything that any comments you want to share, any suggestions you want to share. This would be a great forum for us to learn from you. Professor Dimitri and Siddharth are here to hear us out, and we will definitely chime in. Okay, so first of all, Siddharth, thank you so much for being the second team TA second time, and thank you, Professor Dimitri. I know we have a time difference here in France, and thank you for sharing, sparing the time for to spend with us learners.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining our live session. And in Strasbourg, we have a very nice morning with the sun, which is rare here in winter season. It's not as warm as in India. Well, we have about 0 degrees, but I suppose we can share together very interesting things, answering first of all your questions that we already collected from the forum, and also to discuss with you something that we believe will be useful for you in order to succeed with this course. This is our agenda, and I suppose can I answer with answering the question that we collected, Bala?
We can go straight away. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
Let's go in this case. I'm going just to share my screen and to give you some ideas. The first question that I checked, this was a question about, could you provide, let me see the question, please provide the link to article about forecasting going wrong. Okay, well, in fact, if you put your keywords in the internet, you can find a lot of interesting articles with a lot of citation. What I'd like to share with you, I would like to share with you something to me more valuable. The book, oh my God, stop, not this one. Something when we share things, it's not always appear that we share what we would like to share. I'm sorry for these technical things that sometimes happen. Okay, I'd like to share my presentation. Yeah, now we are. Can you see my screen?
Yes,
yeah.
We can.
So the book where you can find a lot of interesting examples with a detailed analysis about mistakes about technological forecasting, long-term technological forecasting, which mislead strategic decision in big companies. This book, you can see the cover on this slide, Mega Mistakes Forecasting and the Myth of Rapid Technological Changes. This book was published quite a long time ago. It's interesting for me just to notice that I didn't find any other book the same details and the same rigorosity of scientific analysis about mistakes. Most of the publications, they are just short articles. Somebody said this, but it is wrong, and so on. Another book that I also would like to recommend you, which is quite unique. This is a book about prediction, and you can see that this book was published 4 times, 10 years, one after another one. And what is interesting here, that the prediction which was discussed in the book 1992, after that they were revised and revisited in 2002 and 2013 also. Probably this year we will have the next update of the same book. Here you can find not only what's going wrong with forecast, but why it's going wrong, some discussion, and what's going right. And you can find more interesting things about logistic S-shaped curve that we are going to learn within this course. A lot of examples, not only for technologies, but also for instance, histories like pandemic situation in the past also. How can we use extrapolation, and why sometimes even with these kind of tools, it provides us not as precise result as we need. This was my trial to answering the first question. If you'd like to see some articles that you can find by yourself in the internet, for instance, you can find like 8 legendary business predictions. Let me show you this page also, something like that, or something. Sorry. So it is not the question what forecast is wrong. The question is how to make forecast that it will be reliable. And this is our course about. The next question, in fact, the 2 questions that I saw in your feedbacks about the course, they are both connected to our discussion about efficiency and effectiveness that you watched in our videos and you tried to learn. Here, I'd like just to precise about efficiency and effectiveness, because as far as I see, according to your question, you are a bit not clear with this concept that we're sharing within our course. Okay. Can you see my screen, please?
Yes, Dimitri, we can see
Okay,
it.
good. So the first question about efficiency versus effectiveness. Why we die quickly when efficiency is high and effectiveness of low, while we die slowly when the efficiency is low, and understood the okay, and later on the author he wrote that he understood the rabbit and turtle analogy, but does not agree with this die quickly and die slowly. Let us look carefully once again to these 2 important concepts, because without understanding difference between effectiveness and efficiency, it's difficult to buy, is it worth to forecast or not? Okay, the effectiveness, this is when we get the right direction. For instance, if we are lost in some forest and our batteries on our smartphone is really dead, okay, we can go very fast in the wrong direction, but it doesn't help us to get out of the forest, right? So our efficiency can be very high because we are walking very fast, but our effectiveness will be very low. So when we run efficiency very high, okay, we can arrive to the situation which can be named, die quickly, because we spend a lot of resources, we do things very quickly, but we do it in the wrong direction. When, for instance, we are not sure about our direction and we move slowly, okay, we spend our energy and resources not so fast. But as soon that our direction is wrong, we will die anyway, but not as fast as with a high efficiency. The question is how to thrive. For thriving, we need not only to be efficient, to do things with a good ratio between, efforts and to energy, but also to go in the right direction. Well, even we go slowly in the right direction, we will be okay also. This is the main idea of this diagram that we tried to share with you in order to introduce the concept of efficiency and effectiveness. So why we need to forecast? We need to forecast in order to know the direction. The strategic technological forecast that we try to share with you within this introductory course, this is not advice what has to be done, not at all. This is advice what will happen. Like, in order to go out, you always check the weather forecast. Will it be windy? Will it be rainy? And so on. And after that, it's up to you to take decision. The same, the methodologies that we are trying to share with you within this course. Okay, what is a right direction to go in order to thrive, not to die? I believe that this would happen to you to understand better this concept efficiency versus effectiveness. If not, just repeat your question. We probably will use another example in order to make it clear for you. Okay, this was already answered. Just checking.
Might I add
Yes,
one
please.
more little detail?
Please go,
Yeah.
Bala.
So this one for me was personally very eye-opening in a sense that this effectiveness versus efficiency, because I worked in a company where efficiency was so important and was advertised so much that we had Six Sigma, we had all that very, very well done, very well advertised and branded, organized. But however, they did it because they had already were sure of how the projects that they were doing, the products that they were offering, and the services that they were offering were already in the right direction. So there is a time and place for efficiency and effectiveness. So first of all, I would say in the order of how it has to be done. One of the key things, and this is what Professor Dimitri was hinting at, was how do we get that understanding of the right things and then move on to doing it efficiently. So another flippant example that somebody gave me a long time ago was in the good old days, it was believed that presence of bad blood caused diseases. Bad blood in your bloodstream caused diseases. Okay, so suppose you thought that was the right thing, and we start going into efficiency, and we start rolling out Six Sigma efficiency to draw out all your blood from the body. That's going to be disastrous. You're doing it very, very efficiently, drawing out all the blood in the body, but it's not the right thing to do because we have not understood what it is. So one of the key things is to first of all get those things in order. What is the effective way to do stuff, and then get on to the efficiency. So that's for me was a big learning. Thanks, Professor Dimitri, for highlighting this for us.
Yeah, I see that the hand is raised, but before answering for this question, I'd like just to notice something that I can see through the chart. In the chart, there is a request. Is it possible to share any documents of the presentation to refer in the future and to prepare the exams? In fact, what we share with you through the NPTEL, it's already everything that you need. When we see that you need more documents, we will give you the links within our live sessions, and do not hesitate to raise your questions. For instance, how to find this book or another book, or how to find this article or another article. One more comment about this: if you are interested about source of information that we use when we present our slides, on the bottom side of the slide, you can stop anytime the video and you can see the detailed link where is from information. So please, and the question, you can open your mic, Suresh Kumar, please.
Yeah, thank you, Dimitri. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So, as told by Bala, as an additional input for the efficiency and effectiveness, what I understood is there is a time and place for the effectiveness and the efficiency. So at the strategic level, when we do the plan or the strategy, at that level, it is more important that we need to be very effective so that we take the right decisions. And then efficiency when we execute that strategy, and it should be efficient. So this is the input that I got when Bala was explaining about the place and time importance at the strategy level and the execution level with reference to effectiveness and efficiency.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank
Absolutely, yeah. You are on the right direction. The only question is, when we make strategic decision, there is always the time gap between decision taking and how do we recognize was it effective or not.
And this
is a problem.
And this technical forecasting will help to put the perspective how effectively we will execute that strategy with our execution plans. This technical forecasting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Because we need, for instance, if you'd like to invest your efforts and your money in some information technologies today, which is a mainstream, you need to have a bold ideas in a 5 to 10 years. Will it be still relevant? Or probably we will not need any advancement in IT technologies, and most of the efforts will be focused how to generate necessary energy. You know, we need to have a bold ideas about weather tomorrow, in order to take decision. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for these comments. Well, another question that I'd like to discuss a bit more with the help of slides. This is a question in a video. Some of students they read, okay, it seems that there are some missed slides, and this is about difference between strategic decision, tactic decision, and operation decision. So that's why I'd like just to revisit what we usually discuss about the topic, just to refresh in mind, and in order to make it absolutely clear how they are connected. And the course is, as we already discussed, this is mostly about how to prepare and how to support strategic decision. Okay, so now I'm going to share my screen once again. Yeah, can you see my slide?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Well, the strategic decision, for instance, this is like when you take decision about your education for coming years, you took the direction. You know, you can go in a direction of arts, or you can go to the direction of commerce, or you can go to the direction of engineering. But from this decision, everything will be shaped accordingly. So it means, if you look to the planning, okay, and now I'm talking to the planning from business perspective, okay, we always can recognize several layers. The layer, for instance, several years layer, this is the layer of strategic level. When the tactic level, when we define, for instance, within these 5 years of our engineering education, which institution and which block of courses you are going to follow. You are going to go toward civil engineering, or you're going to go to the mechatronic engineering, and so on. And operational level, for instance, we decide in which semester we are going to follow which courses, okay, in order to gain necessary points, in order to get our master, and so on. In production, this is absolutely the same. We define, for instance, the group of products that we are going to produce, okay? We are going to produce 10 products, and in each year, how they will substitute each other or how we will produce them in parallel, this is a tactic level. And operational level, we have to plan supply, we have to make supply and operational planning, and many other things. So when we need reliable forecast, very important to have reliable forecast on strategic level. Why? Because if something goes wrong here, everything will be wrong here. Even the efficiency will be very good on operational level. If on the strategic level, the direction is not correct, everything will go not way as it has to go. So we defined, and you can find this also through our video, that the strategy, this is a management plan, because the strategy as a word has a lot of definition if you look. But in body of our course, in order to keep things consistent and clear, the strategy, this is a management plan for strengthening the performance and competitive advantages of the company. Keyword here, if you like, this is a competitive advantages. Okay, competitive advantages of the company. This is why we suggest to spend time for forecasting. How do we make decision? The decision in a simple thing. This is just a choice. We took alternatives, for instance, for traveling from one place to another one. We can take bike, we can take this electric, very popular device, or we can take a motorbike, okay? And we took the factors, different factors, which can be how much does it cost, how it is from social perspective, how it is from ecological perspective, how long does it take, and so on, in order to take our decision. But the question is, when we take decision, it has to be educated one. The decision, we are going to use the definition, this is always a choice. Okay? This is a choice between two or more options. And usually when we have more options, we reduce them to 2 options. This is a particular peculiarity of our brain. Our brain doesn't work with multiple options. So now I'm arriving to very description how the decision, strategic, technical, and operation, how they are different. First of all, they are different because the area of decision. The operational decision, for instance, this is how we are going to use resources in production process, for instance. When tactical decision, this is how we are going to manage resources. Are we going, for instance, to call our suppliers every week, or we are going to call our suppliers just once per month? This is a tactical decision, okay? Are we going to improve automation, or we are going to keep our employees on the factory on assembly line? This is a tactical decision. But the strategic decision, this is, we are going to enter a new market. What kind of technology we are going to use? For instance, for the screen, if you are a company which produce a screen for electronic devices, are we going to go to OLED screen, or we are going to keep going with LCD screen? They are different also by impact, because the operational decision, they are not so high impact. They can be considered even independently. When the strategic decision, they have long-lasting impact. Level of decision makers. The top management and senior management, this is a strategic decision. And when we also need the operational decision, which is very important on the daily basis, this is operational management. Functional direction and middle management, they define functional directions. Okay, this is a tactical decision. Are we going to use, for instance, if we are in supply chain, are we going to use more delivery by train, or we are going to use more delivery by heavy trucks? This is a tactical decision. And after that, operational, we make planning. You see, in fact, our course more about this part, how to support this decision, because we have a plenty of very powerful tools for operational decision, demand forecast. This is well elaborated. Okay, there are books, it works pretty nice, everything is good. There are methods how to improve efficiency and so on. About tactic, there are many things also that works. But what is interesting to see that most of the people, they don't believe, and most of the decision makers, they don't believe that on strategic level, we can forecast and we can be reliable. So that's why we suggest you this course. This was my trial to, to fill the gap that was requested. There are discussion, but there are no slides. Okay, I tried to introduce a couple of slides.
May I add a personal point of view to this?
Please, go.
So for me, at a personal level, what I look at operational is the day-to-day tasks that one has to perform in a project, in something that you've taken up. So those at a very day-to-day level, we call it operational, right? So that is the granularity is almost within an hour, within a day, max within a week. You will have one task maybe spanning across a couple of days. Tactical is reviewing and looking at them, saying what happened with that and what's coming in the way of taking my next step, next action on several of my projects that are running. What are the projects that I'm involved in is sort of tactical, looking back and looking forward, looking at your agenda in the next months coming up. What are you doing with respect to, are you moving things? Are you the bottleneck, which is not, things are not happening? A kind of examination would be a tactical. And strategic is, what am I doing with my life? Is it in the direction that I really am motivated to go with? Or is there some fundamental changes that I have to make? Should I be entering into that X field or Y field? Should I be collaborating with X or Y to advance my career? So for me, at a personal level, also, this is very relatable and it made my decisions easier. So when a new project comes along, I can examine it from a strategic point of view, whether it aligns with my career and values. At a project level, does it go with the current projects or is going to be an overload? Or at an operational level, saying, oh, my day is already stacked up. I think I can probably look at you at next week, first or second day. So for me, I could relate to this personal level. Thanks, Dimitri, for introducing this idea to me.
If you,
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Bala, for this comment. They are always very useful. Just to make it clear, crystal clear among us who are participating, I'd like just to share once again the screen to give you the example of strategic decision. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So look, for instance, the strategic decision which was taken by IBM in 2005 when they sold a very successful business of laptop to the Chinese technology company Lenovo. Okay, this was really example of strategic decision. What is interesting to see, okay, the business still exists. We use our laptop, but IBM decided to do so. Okay, and they, in fact, what they did win, because in fact the market of laptop grew a very long period of time, and it continued to grow to grow. It continued to grow after 2005, couple of years. But today, this is a more kind of stable, not growing anymore market. What IBM did within this time, they decided to invest their efforts to the technologies like Watson. Watson Computer 2011 beat it to human being in a famous Jeopardy challenge, which needs, encyclopedic knowledge and capacity to understand human language question. What is the result of this strategic decision? If I just look to the result of this strategic decision today, IBM Watson as a platform for the business solution is widely applied. Today, for instance, if you look to 2020, the IBM is a #1 ranking market for artificial intelligence for business solution. 70% of global banking institutions use Watson platform or platform which are based on the Watson. Okay, 13 of the 14 top system integrators use Watson. You see, this is a value of well forecasted and well predicted strategic decision. Of course, there are a lot of tactical decision behind, a lot of hard work behind of that, because when we look how people they develop those platforms and what happens after. But don't forget, in order to arrive to this result, you need first to take this decision. Without that, such a result cannot be possible. This was my trial just to share about strategic decision, how they're available. Yeah, and one more slide that I just forgot to share with you in this context that I would like to share also. This is about a very interesting book which break the very famous misconception. Okay, the very famous misconception that usually people they use when they say, okay, long-term forecasting is not possible because the human behavior is not predictable. It is wrong. The human behavior is very predictable. And it is even more predictable than the weather. Okay, we can see this, and there are very big advancement on this direction. Daniel Kahneman, he received his Nobel Prize in economy due to the discoveries how human behavior on the level of societies is predictable. Okay, for some of you who are interested about the topic, I would like to suggest the Predictably Irrational. This book is even available as a PDF in the internet. You can just spend 5 minutes to look through the internet and you will find this. Okay, very interestingly written with examples. And this book you can also buy and put your hand on, Thinking Fast and Slow. This is a book from Daniel Kahneman, where he very rigorously, very scientific way, he discussed how do we think and how do we take our decision. And very interesting conclusion out of this, that this part is which most of the people on the level of common sense, they say, okay, human behavior is not predictable. It is predictable. And this is very good news for long-term strategic decision. Okay, thank you. This was my trial to complete a bit this part of our discussion. In meantime, I saw that we can, some students, they found out the PDF, which are available on the course. So I don't see any more questions in which were not answered. Others are technical in our page about the course. Do you probably have some questions or arguments or some don't agree with what we? Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you, Dimitri, for explaining those things. Just want to add to that strategy. Before strategy, you have given an example of choosing the function like medical engineering as a career. So before arriving at that strategy, it is the vision of the person that he wants to become a doctor, he goes to medicine. So that precludes from vision to strategy. So if we include the vision also within the before the strategy, then it will be a full picture from vision to strategy and to the tactic or the execution. So is that order right, or again is it like a circle?
You are in the right direction. I do like this example about education and how decision is taken, because usually it is taken not by somebody who is going to follow this decision, but it is taken by his family also, on the influence of his friends.
Environment.
Yeah, environment. And this is exactly how strategic decisions are taken. So that's why if you just take a bit time and think about this decision, strategic decision about education, because in fact it shaped all our life. Okay, one day, not immediately, with certain, it took certain time to take the decision about my education direction. I took this, and you can recall your experience, and it gives you understanding how strategic decisions on the business level they are taken also. Because, for instance, if I take IBM computers as a company, they would like to build not machine for business at the beginning. The company was about different things. After that, they, change their direction, their path. They align it and choose their strategy. This is I do like this comment that you suggested for our attention, because it gives us idea how strategic decisions are taken. But whatever we are talking about, we need to have some ideas about what will be on demand tomorrow. I can give you example, for instance, for Eastern European countries. At the certain moment, they were very popular to learn English language. So that's why many people, they decided to become English language teachers. Just in 10 years, they found themselves without jobless. Why? Because it was not so popular anymore, and there were a lot of solutions through the internet that people, they can learn English by themselves. You see? The decision is taken. It looks like very reasonable when observing environment, but without forecasting, okay, without predicting when we will pass this exponential growth to plateau, it is very risky business. We have a hand from Rishikesh. Yeah. Can you step into the stage? Probably you can open your camera. In this case, we will.
Sure. Yeah. Hi, Professor. Yeah.
Hi.
First of all, thank you for providing this amazing course. I've been enjoying it. So I have basically two questions, Professor. So the first question is, in the Gartner hype cycle, we see that there is a phase of the technology kind of fading away. And after that phase, we not all technologies, but yeah, there are some which will again go into limelight, and then again finally there would be a stability. So I want to understand, in your opinion, why this fading away happens. I fail to understand, let's say currently with AI, because a lot of people are talking about AI in this, AI in that, AI everywhere, AI. So if something is, let's say AI is at the peak right now, why would it suddenly fall? And if it falls, then why would it again regain momentum? So that would be my first question. And you want me to ask the second one right now, or after you answer it?
Okay, let's deal with hype cycle, and after that we will see the second question. Okay, sure. about hype cycle, if I just look to the hype cycle, okay, for technologies about 2020, can you see my screen?
Sure, I can see that.
Okay, what is the problem with the hype cycle for taking a strategic decision? First of all, we have no scale on the time. We have no any ideas when it will happen. Some expert opinion, they are not so, how to say this, reliable, because we can show through the book that I introduced in the beginning of our session and through the many articles that the expert opinion very often, to be precise, about 80% of time, they are wrong because they are biased, professional biases, and so on. So that's why what we have on the hype cycle, we have expectation. It means this is how many people are talking about expectation, you know, and this is mostly based on the emotions. But for the reliable strategic decision, it doesn't work. It means if I oversimplify the situation, if I would like to organize a party this weekend, okay, of course I would like to have a sunny weather outdoor, but if everybody will speak about sunny weather outdoor, the weather will be like it will be. Probably it will be sunny, but in most of the cases in Strasbourg, in winter season, it will be rainy. So that's why in board of our course, we suggest something which is based on the measurable and computable things. So the hype cycle can be like just what people are talking about. After that, we take particular technology, for instance, generative adversarial networks, and we calculate in which position on the logistic S-curve they are. Because what we say, the infant mortality on the logistic S-curve, this will you see the next week. Okay, this is somehow what in the hype cycle they say slope of alignment and the plateau of productivity. This is after that. But for me personally, when I look to this hype cycle, which was suggested by Gartner consulting company at the beginning, and they publish, I have a collection for the last 20 years of these hype cycles. Very interesting experience, interesting experience, because most of the things that were discussed here, they just simply disappear. Did I answer your question, or you asked about something else?
No, you did, but then you kind of led me to another question. So then, like,
Please.
What I understand is these Gartner hype cycles are like, there's a fairly large chances that they are wrong about whatever they are saying right now. So how is Gartner marketing this? Because I actually checked this on the Gartner's website, and what they write is like they provide it for each of their client, and they provide it for them in a customized manner. That is, they do it for their own industry. So if the thing is wrong, then why is industry, you know, I mean, Gartner is a very big company, right? So why are
yeah. Okay, let me come back to my slides in order to help us to be efficient with the time, and let us see, will it help us to be effective? Okay. You know, the issue is the following. Usually, the value of an innovation is measured by the extent of its halo. What do I mean? For instance, today, many people believe that electric car, this is a mainstream. And in many cases, when people are talking about Tesla, for instance, Tesla Motors, they say, oh, well, they are a worldwide leader. Okay, good. But if I look to the numbers, okay, I would like to emphasize these numbers, and you can check me. If I look to the market of cars, not electric cars, but cars in the United States, the Tesla Motors cars, they far below 10% of cars used in practice in the United States. It means this technology still did not pass through the infant mortality. But the people, they like to discuss about things. This is the first thing, part of answering your question. And the second part, we have no long-term memory. It means if somebody promised to us something 3 years ago, okay, probably today we still have in memory. But if it was 10 years ago, and it did not happen, we forgot about. So that's why, for me, the book Mega Mistakes of Prediction that I introduced today at the beginning of our session is very, very valuable one, because it helps us just to look back as carefully as we try to look forward. So the Gartner consulting company, they provide not only prevision, the most of the thing that they provide, they use this hype cycle in order to sell other services. If you look carefully to the Gartner consulting company business, it is not the main business of Gartner. It's a kind of main advertising means. Did I answer your question or not?
Yeah, beautifully. Like I agree with that. I got it. Okay. The second question was, Professor, like we talk about the strategic decision, right? And I understand strategic decision.
Yeah.
My question is, like, I understand, like in operational decisions, the role of technology forecasting is hardly anything. I mean, obviously, since it's as Professor Bala explained us, like, something where we are taking decisions of, let's say, time span 1 hour, 2 hours, or maybe a few days at max. Obviously, technology forecasting doesn't make sense. But what about the tactical part? I mean, since you said like mid-management, like you or maybe Professor Bala, I don't really clearly remember right now, but somebody mentioned about like, mid-management is involved in the tactical decision making. So I often feel that when it comes to relevance of technology, people in the mid-management are more aware of how, like, new technology is coming up and things like that, compared to the older generation, because they generally have, risen up to the corporate ladder. Now they are sitting at top of a company, while they might have a very large business experience. But like, I'm talking about something like, a present day graduate from IIT will definitely know a lot more about AI than a person who graduated from IIT, let's say in 1960s or maybe in 80s, somewhere around that. So isn't it that this thing should be introduced at a, what do I call it, maybe at an undergraduate level or some, like, like how are people who are responsible for tactical decision making not so much concerned with technology forecasting?
Okay, I can try to answer for this question, or Vala, if you like, you can start as you wish.
Okay, I can start off and then maybe I lead it to you.
Yeah, okay,
great point. I think the level of exposure to different sciences, different technologies, what's happening in the world definitely has a bearing on your own opinion on what you should be working with. So that's definitely what you're hinting at, right? So the level of exposure that a current graduate will have is much higher because they seem to be in touch with many things. They know they have access to resources that the older generation did not seem to have when they were coming of age, so to speak.
Sure.
So they are definitely at an advantage. No two ways to that. But this is Professor Dimitri often jokes with me. He says that if I have a book on Sanskrit in front of me, doesn't make me knowledgeable on the language of Sanskrit. Okay, so it's what you do with the resources that this course is all about, right? So I wouldn't want to call it wisdom yet because it's not gone. So data, information, knowledge, and wisdom, right? So we have data, plenty of data. They have tons of tools to access data and analyze them and convert them into information. No dearth of that. Absolutely no dearth. Open source, free. You can do it in a flash. Absolutely no problem with that. Can I convert information into knowledge? There is a bottleneck, but it can be done with some training, with some exposure, definitely. Does the current generation have this gap filled up? Debatable. So we
Yeah,
can
true.
argue
It's
about that part. But can they convert this knowledge into wisdom? There's a huge gap. So this is where their middle management is right at that sweet spot. According to me, this is my opinion. This is the sweet spot where they have learned from the past, from their mistakes on what happened, to what they see currently, which probably the current generation they have the awareness, the toolkit, everything to take it up to the information, but that doesn't mean that they're ready for knowledge creation and usage of knowledge yet. So that's where the gap really is, and that's where the tactical thing helps. This is my take on what you said. Very interesting question, by the way. Thank you so much for that. Professor Dimitri, your stage now.
Yeah, thank you, Bala. Because I'd like to address the same question, but a bit from another point of view. The first thing, the middle management, they can find very efficient solution for the strategy. For instance, if I'm a producer of TFT panel, okay, the middle management, they can find the best suppliers, the best transportation means. They can find the best technologies available for production. That's it. But the question is not this. The question, do I need to grow my production of this kind of screen, or I have to shift to another technology, or I have to stop produce laptop and I have to focus my attention on the platform like Watson. Okay. And how do we deal with this question in border of approach that we try to discuss with you? First of all, about information system, because today when people are talking about information system, they are talking about computers. But I'd like just to share with you the picture of information system without any computer. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see that.
This is a life insurance company before computers era. Okay, and this is an information system which is very sophisticated. At those times, it was quite efficient one. Okay, so the question is, what will be the next after the computers? Today, the information technologies are no more anymore information technology. Today, this is an information and communication technology, ICT. If you just type IT, you will go somewhere. ICT. It's just a sign of changes, and we can measure these changes. So for that, I'd like just to share with you another screen. Okay, this is another app, because I took an example from a recent exercise of my students. By the way, we are 5 minutes before closing our session. Okay, look, this is a history, measurable history of recording media for music in the United States market. Okay, at the first we have a vinyl. After that we have a cassette. Vinyl, no computers. Cassette, no computers.
Right.
CD, DVD, okay, some computers appear. MP3, computers. Streaming today, we use internet. Okay, this is how streaming is growing, and when it will arrive to the plateau at the United States market, okay? We can calculate it with a timing, and we can predict what will be the next. But we predict it according to the function, and the middle management cannot do it. This is a task of strategic decision makers. Are we going to invest to the streaming, or we are going to invest in other technology, which is coming? Did we answer your question?
Yeah, you did. So can we all agree on one thing, strategic decision makers don't need to have expertise on technology. I mean, does that sound correct?
We need to be expertise on the function, on the demand. Yeah. Which kind of function? Because whatever technical system we have, the technical system, this is a solution to perform certain function, to listen music, for instance, or to take decision about insurance, okay, or to communicate. For instance, now I'm using TFT screen, okay. I'm using this technology in order to see you, even we are very big distance, and even in a time there is a difference in time, 4 hours and a half. Okay, but those are just system to perform certain function.
True. Got it.
First, we look to the function. And after that, we make a study how this function is performed in order to prepare strategic decision in which technology we are going to invest our efforts. It can be startup company. It can be very big company. But the question is how to be reliable with the knowledge about what will be the weather, business weather tomorrow.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And this is always very particular in which country we are talking about, in which distance we are talking about, in which scale.
That makes sense. Makes sense.
Thank you for your questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Professor.
I think that's pretty much what we have time for. We have a few more questions from the audience on YouTube as well as from the forums. So we promise to get to those unanswered questions in the next session. The following week, we have a subsequent session. Siddhartha is all ready to roll out all the questions and give it to us, but we are out of time, so we are going to have to wait till the next week. So thank you so much for the questions, people who logged in as well as people who are on YouTube. Thank you so much. And if you're watching this as a recording, please do leave your questions on discussion forums. We do look at those questions. If we don't answer it there, we try to get it answered on these sessions. So rest assured, we will make sure all questions are answered. That's our let's say customer support warranty from us professors and teaching assistant.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming. Thank you for your questions.
Thanks, Professor Dimitri, and thanks.
See you next
Siddharth.
time.
Thank you.
Thanks
very
everyone.
much.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a good
Thank you very
day.
much. Thank
Have
you.
a good day. See you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Everyone.
Thank you.